And let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. There is another Nick at that school, and that would be Nick Saban, legendary coach, multiple time national championship winning coach, probably the greatest coach in college football history. And he has done it again, Nick. There has been a feat that we're going to get to here in just a minute. Alabama is back on track to be in the college football national championship again next year. They've made a lot of great moves this year. But we'll get to that in just a minute.
Yeah, but before we get into that story, Miles, I think it's a really interesting story you got pulled up about Alabama Crimson Tide fans. We want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Obviously, last season didn't go the way you wanted to. Your standards are really high at Alabama, but let me guess, you've got a matchup next season you're looking forward to. Maybe a little revenge game, right? Looking at potentially LSU, maybe Auburn again, Iron Bowl. Let us know in the comment section below what matchup you're looking forward to more than any other next season for the Alabama Crimson Tide football team. And while you're down there in the comments section giving us your answer, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It really helps our channel out, really helps us grow. And that way, anytime we post Alabama content, it gets sent right to you. You don't even have to lift a finger. So make sure you hit subscribe while you're commenting. But all right, Miles, give us the latest out of Tuscaloosa.
All right, Nick. This one is big here, okay? Alabama has now been ranked the number one recruiting class this year, but that's not the biggest part, Nick. This is the 10th time in the last 13 years that Alabama has had the number one recruiting class. That's just asinine. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely unbelievable that they're able to do this. And this is what sustained success has looked like, Nick. This is when you're a perennial powerhouse and truly a chance to be a college football playoff contender every single year. This is what happens. You get all of the best recruits, Nick. They have 9 5-star recruits. That is most schools are happy to get like 1. They have 9 5-star recruits on this squad. What do you think about all of this, Nick? This is probably the craziest news I've heard all season.
Yeah, so one thing Nick Saban, and I think all great coaches, Saban and Belichick, have had the same mindset talking about Belichick with the Patriots. Saban, I think it was in a book about Saban that I read. When he was first coming to Alabama, his very first meeting or his flight, when he was talking to the athletic director, said, listen, I got to start recruiting because I'm nothing without my players. And Nick Saban has always taken that to a T. He's always been one heck of a recruiter. People talk about, his temperament on the sideline, how he manages practice, how he manages his coaching staff, of course, his defensive background, but his ability to go out and get the best, bar none, talent in the country year in, year out. It's like clockwork, right? They go in number one recruiting class, like you said, 10 times the last 13 seasons. I think is a testament to the success they have down there in Tuscaloosa. And the thing that's so crazy about it, Miles, I know there's a huge amount of money in this program. They're not doing what other programs are doing. They're not doing the shticks, right? LSU obviously has a lot of the shticks going on with some of the NIL stuff. Texas has a lot of that as well, right? You see a lot of these programs, there seems to be some sort of gimmick or they're all over social media doing kind of like crazy stuff. Like Oregon has their uniforms, for example. Alabama doesn't even have any of that. Nick Saban just goes down and his staff, and they're able to just recruit the living crap out of the Southeast and frankly the entire country, and they do it year after year after year. It is beyond impressive what he's done at this program. It's unreal. It won't ever be replicated again.
Yeah, Nick. And now I have a couple guys we could bring up and talk about from this recruiting class. Obviously, we're only going to talk about the highest level guys. But first up on this docket, we've got this guy, Keon Keeley. This guy seems like an absolute freak of nature. He's 6'5", 250 pounds, and his comp is that he is potentially like the next Chase Young. What do you think about Keeley? What does he bring to this defense? And how big of a signing was this guy?
Well, it's one thing Alabama does. They just get great defensive linemen and pass rushers. They have one right now in Will Anderson or one that just left of Will Anderson. Since every year they've got elite level pass rushing talent, disruptive forces on the defensive line. And again, it's just one of those things we always talk about, Mize. Great recruiting begets more great recruiting. You have great players come in, you give them chances for success. They go on to top 10, top 5 picks. They make tens of millions of dollars in the NFL. And what do you know? You get more great players that want to come to your program. And they're able to just keep capitalizing on it year in and year out. And look, when it comes to position, you can never have too many pass rushers, too many disruptive forces. So in terms of getting this guy on the defensive line as an edge rusher, I think he's going to be a win for this Alabama defense. But look, just the fact they're able to continuously get these guys on the defensive line is, again, a testament to what they do at Alabama. Because this guy's film, if you watch his highlight film in high school, it's laughable how good he is. But that's the thing with every Alabama recruit. When you look at their film, they all look laughably good. It's just unreal what they're able to do.
Yeah, Nick, and one fun fact about him, his nickname is the Viking because his mother is from Norway. So he's got that Viking blood in him. And also, once again, something we harp on, multi-sport athlete, played basketball. He is also on the school's choir, so he could probably sing really well too. He's just that guy that can do literally everything really good. But finally, Nick, one more guy we want to touch on. Another huge recruit, another guy that has big time comps, and that is safety Caleb Downs.
Yeah, so obviously, looking at him, he's a prototypical safety, and this is probably a big win for Alabama because I think for me personally, watching Alabama play defense, really the last couple of years, their only weakness has been the back end, right? And that's just the way it is in college football. There's a lot of great passing offenses. Heck, you look at Georgia. Everyone talked about Georgia's great defense. C.J. Stroud and company lit them up in the semifinal. But when it comes to stopping those great offenses, you need to be really good on the back end. Alabama, I think, at their best defensively is when they had guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I think Downs can go into that role right away. I think he's a day one contributor. He may be an early season starter for Alabama. I think this is the biggest position of need Alabama had to address going into the offseason, and they did it here with Downs. This is a great signing.
Yeah, Nick, fun fact about Downs, 2022 Max Prep National Player of the Year, Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year, and here's a good one, Nick. In 2021, he scored 5 different ways: 4 rushing touchdowns that season, 2 receiving touchdowns, 2 interception returns for a touchdown, 1 kickoff return for a touchdown, and he also threw a touchdown. So talk about multifaceted player. This guy can literally do everything.